Okay, so then starting with the prayers, and you'll find them either on the screen here or in the booklet on page 1. And apologies for any mistakes or order of things. It's been a while, and then my old age is all right. So starting here on page 1. From the heart of the Saviour of the 100 deities of Tashita, on the peak of a cloud resembling a clump of extremely white, fresh curd, King of the Dharma, omniscient Losandrapa, please come here together with your sons. In the sky before me on a line-thrown lotus and moon, my perfect pure Guru smiles delight. Supreme field of merit from a mind of faith, please abide for 100 eons to spread the teachings. Your holy mind has the intelligence that understands the full extent of objects to be known. Your holy speech with its excellent explanations is an ear ornament for those of good fortune. Your holy body is radiantly beautiful with glory renown. To you are meaningful to see, hear, and remember, I prostrate. Pleasing drinking water, various flowers, fragrant incenses, lights, scented waters, and so forth. Oceans of cloud-like offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated, offer to you the supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtue of body, speech, and mind, especially those opposite 3 vows that I've collected from beginningless time, I confess each and every one with fervent regret from my heart. You strove for much learning and practice in degenerate age, and made your freedoms and riches meaningful by abandoning the 8 worldly concerns. Saviour, we sincerely rejoice in your extensive deeds. Perfect, pure, holy gurus from billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion in the sky of Dharmakaya, please let fall a rain of profound and extensive Dharma upon the receptacle of those to be subdued, exactly as they need. May whatever virtue I have collected benefit the teachings of all transmigratory beings, and in particular, may it cause the essence of perfect, pure Losandrapa's teachings to shine forever. And then mandala offering on page 5 in Tibetan. Sa shi poi ki shui shi me tok tam ri ra bling si ni de gam pa di Sangye Shingbu Bite Owa Ido Konam Dak Shing La Cho Pasho. By the merits of it, offer this mandala to Lama Tsongkhapa and his 2 sons. May I, my family members, and all sentient beings be able to meet, practice, and actualize the teachings of the victorious one, Losandrapa, who had the morality of an eminently pure way of life, was courageous in the extensive conduct of the sons of the victorious ones, and accomplished the yoga of the 2 stages of supreme bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamiyatayami. By the force of having fervently requested in this way, olive beams of white light are emitted from the hearts of the perfect pure Father and Sons, and combining into one into my crown. White nectar, the color of milk, flows from the opening of the tube of white light, cleansing all my sicknesses, spirit harms, negative karmas, obscurations, and their imprints. Without exception, my body becomes as pure and clear as crystal. So then on page 8, we recite this those lines there, we recite that 3 times. Mime se we te te chen re zi, dream me kempo wampo jumpo yan, dumo palu jong we san we dan, gan chen ten ben zon ken song kapa, lo zan drable zabla so wa de. Mime se we te te chen re zi, dream me kempo wampo jumpo yan, dumo palu jong we san we dan, gan chen ten ben zon ken song kapa, Lozandra bla sabla so wade. Mime ze we te te chen re zi. Dreame kempe wampa jumpa. lu mo pa lu zhong wei sang wei dang, gan chen ten pen zhen ken song ka pa, lo zhan dra ble sa bla so wa de. And then on page 9, the prayer for the swift return of Lama Sopa Rinpoche. Fearless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious Losang father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge in infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness to accomplish this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, reward the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable Venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and from other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss. Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth, the blessings of the ocean, the three jewels, and the great waves of Bodhicitta, the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples.
Sanji Chedan Tsojun Chonlum La Changju Bardu Dani Gyabsun Che Dagi Chushi Yeban the Dag Drolam Benji Sanjin Drubara Sho Sanji Chedan Tsojun Chonlum La Changju Bardu Dani Gyabsun Dagi Chushi Yeban the Dag Drolam Benji Sanjin Drubara Sho Sanji Chedan Tsojun Chonlum La Changju Bardu Dani Gyabsun Dagi Chushi Yeban the Dagi Drolam Sanjin Drubara Sho Namo Laya Kedan Ladano Jiki Truma Dana Mi Kedan Nadro Kunji Tanum Chizam Tamchi Kedu Dagi Chuden To Kangi Tuzi Nizoni Tawa Tamchi Pambi Shirtambi Chun Tunse Kwadam Tela Chanse Lo Good morning everyone. Shapadele Jenla Kerem Peki Tani Mima Kare
Tupten Chiki.
Tupten Chiki La She's Tupten Chiki. Her name is Tupten Chiki. That's all. Some people coming. It's okay.
Yeah, of course. Just wait a few minutes while everybody joins us.
Chenzumla, can I pay me?
You can come forward.
Just tell it. Yagali give chance. Pege yago chance. As Nadewai. Yago. Mora and Chenzum, can Singana Brisbane. Or Lochinjung Anichin Lo Mambuto and it Yagala Anikomakare Saratolo. Oh, excellent.
Sara.
Saratolo. Sara
Taram Salala.
Ria.
Yes.
Mo
Taralapta.
Phuket and Nanche.
Good. Choose some la. So,
Lam Jangius.
reclam.
Tangoni Yakure, Tangoni, and Charan Sudrao, and Lomba Delang, that one the Tani kitchen which Agores, Australia, and in Lochin Jong, Aniche, Nanchu Jang, Pyoge Jang by na, Tangoni Nanchu ti, and the Lomba Dig Milaya, and the Pento Togres, Takanji, Mambara, Nadisam Lomba Dig Migil. Nancho the Pyoge Chan, Lochin Jung Chechin, Travel the Ani Chivana, the Jacha Jatama Mamba, and the Lomba Delet, the Pento Tugres, Ra. The vacation Buddhist.
So there is a person named Annie Chisholm, and she's from the Brisbane area. And from a young age, Chisholm became a monastic. And recently in Dharamsala, she has been studying Tibetan language and philosophy at the Sara school. Yeah. So this is something that is really very beneficial and very important for the prosperity of our own country. Yeah? If somebody from a young age is able to become a monastic, learn about Buddhist philosophy and the Tibetan language, then returning to Australia would be very beneficial for now, but also in the future. So this would be a really great opportunity if people are able to go forward in this way.
Nganzo number Sanji Chu, Tinani, the table chimbu chu chigiores. Table chimbu chu shigioros. Table chimbu chu with the two di Shenla Robachet, Shenla Pendochet. That the table chimbu chu the be Shizado the Chagores, Shenla Pendochet. 당한주 시행라 편도치 슬라운데 심자 탐지 슬라고요래 다 심자 탐지 슬라고요다 이네야 심자 탐지 미유를 키고야 돼 계신 거래스 임바이네야 다 소소 대사기 소소 단다 대대사기 롱바 디기 소소 년콜로 예비 메다 심진 되게다 니버도 편도치 두고 그러서 심자 탐지라야 편도치 제와라 소소 틀레 예비 메라 편도치 마도나 아니 심자 탐지를 편도도에 신도는 깔까보러 왔어. 수수 계사가 롱바당. 수수 베기 차론 총사가 롱바 대기 밀어야 편지 토마도나. 다 심자 탐지를 편도도세 신도는 깔까보러 왔어. 인제 수수 대사들이야. 수수 대사들 년콜로 예비 다미 조치비게 아니 로디들이야 다 편도도야기 samlo tangwe di shindu ni kishin bu tongu dosa ngaran ro din tongu dosa ro ngandel le ni tangan del de yore ngandel permanent cha sare maumba ngandi message cha ro gre ani ngi gi sem na ya ngi pen to gosa di nga desa dile re sam ngi samlo di tang yes ngi maumba phugya rimbu le ya Australia gi milaya pen to tuya 미유 티키는가 아니 가디는 조기였어. 내가 가르치는 차지 가르치잖아. 마음바 롬바 디기 밀어야 펜도 투겠지. 닌 롬바디는 내가 가르치 봐이나. 니디 키는 드레스스 키요 말아왔어. 아. 니 아니 지 양아 베 텐드 데야 도지. 키요 말간 사마 메다 말아왔어. 그래. 주주도 다 롱업 중하단 레생이 미지리 고 주rum부 쇼지기 먼저 미스이는 라그면 도서라 데나 로자 되기리 딜라 되기 말아다 로샤가로 임바이는 소소 내가 제시하겠디 마음비 밀어야 롱바 디기 밀어야 펜토투야지 제바나 다딩원에 최 남다 디레셔스 나디 상구여스 딘자 오스트레일리아기 미래야 몽방원이 단디 펜토 투그레 삼비 미질레바나 nga jacha jatamba semdini gawa kongu yes ro pena nga zo sanga kashi jore ani lagdon ta modra ani chunzom do lo chunjung ani che ani nangchu jang ani 벽에 장바이나 아니 벽이 난된 그 강인바디 로 인지게 서 규르투야다 강인바디 아니 모데 체토야기 니바 믹스어지 야채 자다 말리기레스
Lasula. So from our Buddhist perspective, in particular from the Mahayana perspective, our main approach is to help others, to benefit others. Yeah, this is the main point of the Mahayana practice. Yeah, but when we mention others, that is in terms of all other sentient beings. This is our main goal, our main focus, a very important focus. But we also need to focus on those that are close, including those animals and other sentient beings that are close to us. So we have the main focus as a Mahayana practitioner of all sentient beings, helping them, benefiting them. But it doesn't sit well if we don't help or benefit those that are close to us. If we are neglecting those that are close to us, then how are we going to benefit all sentient beings? So, and that also includes our ones that are close to us, but not only those, but our immediate community and also our particular country. Yeah. So this is keeping our focus with all sentient beings, but also making an emphasis on those sentient beings that are close to us. So this way of thinking is very important. Yeah. So now Geshe thinks in this way, and now that Geshe has become a permanent resident of Australia, then he's thinking of helping our community and on a larger scale, our Australian country. So benefit now, but also in the long term in the future. So whatever actions and activities that Geshe will be engaging on, it'll be for the focus will be for the long-term benefit, yeah, for this country on all. So whatever actions that Geshe is engaging in, it's really focused on the close community and Australia as a country. So we can't really sort of uproot those actions and take them elsewhere. And we understand that this life is not permanent, not stable, but is in fact impermanent. And now that Geshe has reached about 50 years or so, and there's a maximum age about maybe 80 or so.
4 years.
54. So now
Very
Geshe is
old.
54, but maybe only living to about 80 years old. So during this period, he's really focused on the immediate, but also the long-term activities for the benefit of this country and the immediate community. So from a Buddhist or Dharma perspective, this way of thinking is very, very important, yeah? And if Geshe reaches the end of his life and he's able to see that the benefit has taken place for Australia, then he would feel very joyous, very happy about this. So now Chosen and those that are younger in age, if they're able to become a monastic and then learn from a young age about Buddhist philosophy, the Tibetan language, and so on, if they're able to, in the future, learn the Tibetan language in order to translate from English into from Tibetan into English, then this is really giving a special capacity, a special service that we're able to offer.
Then the number sanjibi chu chengejila 개체수 도디 안에다 자체야디 개체무 빼요랬더라 추칭이징은 이 가디나 다 야우sun가 라무sun가 바세 랍데지어다 나 가슈디 아니 이게 제르무치 송라야 로종체디 땅가 가슈드레스 라
제르브셰기 칠터
제르무치 그다 아니 송도솔 로종체디 땅가 가슈드레스 라
맞아요.
아니 먼저 될 쇼기 딱봐 간델라게마데 믹스마치 땡구도 왔어. 나랑 임바이나야 간덴도야 조디 간델라게마데 믹스마 팅거칭 돼야디 당이 간덴 개체슈드레스라. 디 윤생 가르레스 라운디 제rum부치기 남바산지비 추 권한기 냠낸 체시 제rum부치 강 송바디 권한기 냠낸 첸덴신 냠낸 타신 바지 나니 밀시고레스 다디 개침부 쇼레스라 남바산지비 추추디온디 라바스므레다 추좀 라바 땡긴지 셰르 라바 소수기 추좀 라바다 땡긴진데 셰르 라바 냠레 마치오지 밀라디 체고스 라바이나 딱다문도스 딱다문도스 추생의 망부여레 시에는 디그리 임바이네야 담보 소수기 냠네 체고다스라 제rum부치 강송바디 도당가 가르송바디 곰냠네 가르송바디 코나랑기 냠시 나니 탈신치니 다 산기 좀된 데다 찍장 디송구요 반자 대한베 리바드 덴바 아니 지 콩다 덴바 야가르기 펜루소 바시글 연구물로 야셀로 소바 반다와 타와 야셀로 소바 조지 야셀로 소바 딘디 베 쇼ン체덴 짠짠 콩동 딘디 송요 반자 제rum부치 세데디 균젠 디리마도 셴바 카이 마레스 로 딘자 소소 타와치 소소 아네치 소소 냠네 첸데친 소소 냠네 야부친 디기 냠네 체자 펜도디 밀레셰바나 밀레 펜토그레스 로 데르다 아니 마음발이야 지 롬바델이야 뭐니 지 야부치 용열에 소소 응원이 겐렌지 소소 타와다 아네스지 로 남주자 아니 롬바델 펜도치기노 야자자도 뭐 야부차그레스 로 아니 비기다 벽에 돌아야 렉저 돌아야 남비기 추 닐루 칸라지시 요바디 정말 진심수 인지게 돌아 규르투게 레어요라스라 근데 단다더는 지단 규르여되네요 잠부셔는 내가 마무지 깔카고 배도스라 모두지 배 깔카고 도스
So, as a Buddhist practitioner, as a Buddhist practitioner, it is actually very important and encouraged to have the monastic community of monks and nuns. And Geshe mentions this because Geshe is has deep faith and admiration for the great master Lama Tsongkhapa. He mentions Lama Tsongkhapa on a regular basis. It's like his favorite teachings. Geshe's main practice is made up of Ganjin Gema and the reciting the Miksema 5-line prayer and so on. So these are because they are very important. Geshe really understands that the great master Lama Tsongkhapa, the main reason for Lama Tsongkhapa being Geshe's favorite is that Lama Tsongkhapa is actually the embodiment and practices exactly what he is teaching, what he is writing about. So because Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa perfectly practices and exemplifies what he teaches. For example, all the Buddhist teachings can be subsumed into the 3 higher trainings: the training, ethical training, the higher training of ethical discipline, concentration, and wisdom. So Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa, he practices them in a perfect way. So if one doesn't practice them themselves, then it's very difficult and actually unsuitable for them to teach that to others. So first, one must practice in order to share genuinely what they are teaching with others. Yes, you can speak about it, but it's more appropriate to practice it oneself. So Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa is really embodying and practicing all these sutra and tantra, and he shares and teaches through his own experiences. So we can really consider Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa as being exactly the same as the Buddha Shakyamuni. So because he teaches via reason and logic, but also Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa also uses various Indian sources or from the great Nalanda scholars such as Nagarjuna, Dharmakirti, Great Master Atisha, and so on. So for this reason, then Geshe's favorite teacher is in fact Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa. So if it is the case that you are monastic, then in the future, having studied well, and then also internalizing and practicing that, then we can take up that responsibility of sharing that with others in the future. So this would be of great benefit to the community, but also to our country as well. So if we practice in this way, then really we can be sure that things will go well. Oh, sorry. So if we're able to study in Tibetan or in Sanskrit, then we'll be able to, in fact, assist with the translation into the English language, because some points, difficult points in the Tibetan are sometimes difficult to convey in the English. So we'll be able to assist in this way.
There the cancel Sorashida Yumares, Rakansan Lama Tsongkhapa Song Tozola, the G Gyurumbu Lojong Chiera Mena, that Soroyoya Kalika Warasra. And yet that this Lojong Chiera, in Lojong Cherry, in Lojong Chevi Kabdalaya, Givishin Samji Mikeba, and Garan Gerumbuche, Rajimbanta, Kadunata, and Lama Tsongkhapa Songres. Lama Tsongkhapa Song to Sutolaya, and in Ganzolama, Lotikche, two Nangre, then a Jawarmucheres, the Jawarmuche cancelled. How can a Jawarmuche that Tanda Gonlo that Geshe Chabji Chagu can pay word in a Tanga Jermuche Nanjich Chihins, Songorasra. Dindigi pe the yimisho such. Yamsembu show yourself. Jerumuchik song to one, chita to one. Kanjing ngay sorwala ya, ngay sorwala. Sanji chomden din zambalina pevni, lo ni tong jela. Jerumuchi pevares. The lo ni tong din nalola. Saving gumbulu dula soba. Jagar pendru chubden yon soba pevores. In a song de la chik jewana. Jerumuchi nanshin tindi. Suchik zeyo maresta. Ngay samna suchik. Sanji chomden din zambalina pevi jela lo ni tong nalola. Jerumuchi nanshin chik. Tindi siwuchik ta sanji ki temba. Sanji ki chud. Tindi ki siwuchida. Tindi ki kong takpuchida. Ani riglam yoyo. Kanji. Ani teba chechon sum sejores. Teba chechon sum ki pe tadrubdi. Kansa chik sanji vi lamji rimbala ya jarni. Sonya di. Ani ndonga niga lo. Kansa chik sanji vi lamji rimbala ya jarni. Tenla paba. Teni shonkabu nga kansa chik sanji vi lamji rimbala ya jarni. Ta dindi pe siwu shuch. Suchik suyo na yo mares. Jerumuchi nanshin suchik suyo mares. Kenda
Lamrim
la
goda. Lamrim ha chichung. Lamrim
shonkabu nga
galpoda ha.
parchin umma namden zu durwara. Didiya kansa chik sanji vi lamji rimbala ya rodan jora. Kansa chik pe nyamlen cheni. Ani sanji vi lamji rimbala. Tusu kanka ta chik yongdan jora da. Ta kanchi jerumuchi nanshin 수치 요 말했다. 간지 수치 년 통고 문도스라. 딘디 인자다 원에 삼기 메겨버지래샤 삼친더니 아니 쇼기 딱바 믹서 던거리냐 녀벼치 문도스라. 니마 딱바 다야기 데벌리기도 가주 장바이나 단다 장고 삼성기 소벌리기도 단단 대용고 삼성 로 가주 마음분 대한토와이나 샘라 가월리기도 단도 마음 대용고 삼야기 소벌리기도 얌생 부페요레스 제롬직 송 도서 로종체데 가주 제롬직 송 아니 데비드 로바이나야 녀비아 자원이 요 말레스 단다티스 하고 바이나 베 야부여스다 간지 어디레 더 딘지기 제롬직 템바디 더 롬반 디나말라야 오네 지금 미참마가 로종체야 용버체발라 롬반 디난게다 셴기 로친종 안에다 타와딘지 zug below badachi pyoge jang pyoyik jang ani chö jang tu chebana maungba jasa jadamba ani lomba di nanglo la ya dindi gi tsal chimbu chözuldi lomba di ge tola chema cheje ji yon to ya gi rewa yorasra manzo pyola tomaki yo maras ani jagan chu lo tsawa to so ge gyur ani pyoge mi maungbu chi jagalan ro lobjong che 야각계장, 최장, 수용, 벽에돌로 귤 당보다 입어도서 찬상지요 말했어. 갈리 귤친. 양자 귤친이 단디 차라 야갈 렉젤 게 돌로 여비기 추걸 찬상원디 벽에돌로 열었어. 디만돈 잠블리나리요 말았어.
So even though we don't have a lot of time to study in detail, the feeling you might not be able to feel exactly the way that Geshe feels in regards to Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa, because Geshe himself has studied for many years the text from Great Mother Master Lama Tsongkhapa, and in fact he has heard many times his teacher Gen Rinpoche referred to Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa. So Geshe really feels a connection and a resonance. But those that are unable to study as much as this for as long as this might not resonate as much with Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa, yeah. But even we take a different example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. His Holiness is now approaching 89 years, yeah. But Geshe regards His Holiness the Dalai Lama like Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa. So we can take these examples and we can generate a feeling of connection, of resonance, yeah? So this is Geshe's feeling that since the time the Buddha came into this world, then about 2,000 years later, Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa appeared, yeah? And mainly he was teaching from the great sources of the 17 Nalanda scholars, such as Nagarjuna and so on, yeah? So there was really no one else that sort of approached the Buddhism and the Buddha Dharma in this way. So approach from the Indian sources, yeah. So for this reason, and that Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa used much reasoning and debate and so forth, and really brought together the vast scope of the Hinayana, the Mantra, the Mahayana, the Sutra, and the Tantra, and really covered in great detail the 5 main fields of study, such as the Perfection of Wisdom Sutras, the Abhidhamma, Vinaya, and so on. All of these fields of study are necessary for anybody to learn about and practice the Buddha Dharma. Yeah. So really, there was never anyone that has been seen that brought all of these things together in the way that Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa did, yeah? So this is why Geshe, he recites the 5-line Mixima prayer, for example, and he does this on a daily basis, but he never gets bored. He does this tirelessly. But in fact, the more that he recites these 5-line Mixima prayer, the more he feels much more happy, much more joyous, because he's really, over the years, studied in great detail and developed this sense of appreciation. So, and all of that on a daily basis, Geshe studies and reflects on the teachings of Great Master Lama Tsongkhapa and understanding the meaning. If one is able to properly understand the meaning, then Geshe he feels himself that he never gets bored of reading about that, yeah? So if we're able to learn about and put into practice the studies of this great master, Lama Tsongkhapa, then this is really going to be of great benefit to our country, yeah, Australia. So if we're able to, from a young age, if possible, able to study and reflect, and then if we're able to invest time in the study of the Tibetan language, then if we're able to study that study Dharma in the Tibetan language, then Geshe feels great hope that this will be of great benefit to our country in the future. So in Tibet, there were many great, what they call Lotsawa in Tibetan, but the great translators. So the people would go to India, they would learn the Indian language, and then, so in this case, Sanskrit, Lechake Yogiro Allah, Lechake, Geshe,
Yeah.
also Gagula Lechake, Chunky Yurwala.
Geshe.
Literature. So they would learn Sanskrit. They would learn about Buddhist philosophy or Buddha Dharma, yeah, and then they would go back to Tibet and translate the texts and the teachings into a Tibetan or into Tibetan language. So these the translations, they were revised not only once but multiple times in order for the clarity to come about. So from the Sanskrit into Tibetan, there were true to the Lotsawas, these great translators, they were able to transfer what was given in Sanskrit in India and then transfer that into the Tibetan language in its entirety. So really, only in the Tibetan language that it's really preserved in this manner. That's right.
There's kanji maungbalaya pengunda, right? And miyu tarimbu miyu shan. The chidige, the longban dinanglalaya, chawa ani chingi yobana. Chawa ani chingi solaya, jabjur chigu dasra. Jabjur. Nima pele tambo nanjita wandi. Ani go jabuni cheni. Ani gegen dende shuya. Gomba jaya. Yung suzobalaya, jabjur chiwaras. Teni ditsamase. Ani chik tawa shunshen tindi. Ani jagalaya, lobjong tang. Drosong tang. Ra. Jakab korang drosong tang. Teni mi ger susu ju yongen sugyan drosong tang. Jindachi. Mado shunji su la nguyo mare. Ani lomba chilo la lobjong chiga drosong mambu warwas. Ra. Ani lonu lotun drosong drogri. Ani kanga chewandi tani lobjong chi tukuyo mare ra. Tadiri. Odu cheni drobay na maungba. 야시자담을 팽기로 왔으라. 왜나 단단 간조 유럽기 게시라지야 유럽 단다 나들랜드니라 코나 게시 남다 게시 딘제 남다 쓰기로 콘세라니리 담부 엔세라리온 나잘라티스 아니 데리 데니 코랑 야갈 로존 용디 오스트레일리아기 미지 콜라 로바치기도 오스트레일리아기 미지 콜라야 진다치치니 그런 로존을 내어레스 달 야간에 달로 니슈사치 로존체니 단다 게시 퇴한체니 단다 유럽을 드로체 되게 아니 만주슈 센터 잉글랜드
London, Chamyang.
자미아 센터
Mm.
자미아에서 만주슈라 자미아 센터 resident teacher 콘티 체고레스 콩 로존 체위 갑둘라 로버칭이 디 오스트레일리아 미지레스 로 딘디 체바는 야부벤도 왔어 벤조이어레 벤조기 디기 다단 잠블리라야 이시딘즈 남다 나오지만 잠블리라 펜토고레스 잠블링이 밀라야 로 인지게 아니 유럽게 벽게 아니 게시텐사레 야부벤도 왔어 오스트레일리아 나올라야 단다버드다 오스트레일리아 나올 표준한데 순 롱업치 드로여데냐 오스트레일리아 미지 게시텐 요레스 요마라 데데스 캔사오르다 왕과 용고다 쓰라
So when we're thinking of being a benefit, then we can think in terms of long-term benefits. So one is if there are the monastics, but we need the the support for the monastics for those monks and nuns. So in the early days in Tibet, the monastics were very well supported. In the beginning, they were supported by the emperor or the king, and then the emperor invited teachers, and the monasteries and temples were established. So, but not only that, but from a very young age, the monks were sent to India to learn and study. But those expenses that were required in order to send those monks to India, they were supported by the country, or the government, you can say. So, and other sponsors, local sponsors. So, because the individuals themselves, they may not have had the money. So, they were sponsored and supported by the locals and the country itself. So, but not only just the initial expenses, but the yearly expenses they were given as to support those monastics going to India. So, whereas, of course, if there was any obstacle or problem, then that would arise, then it would be difficult to share the expenses. But you can see in our modern day example, there's a European monk named Geshe Namdang. So while Geshe was in the Sera monastery, Geshe Tenzin Namdang would come and visit with Geshe on occasion. So Geshe Tenzin Namdang did his studies and examinations at the Sera monastery. And Geshe Tenzin Namdang mentioned to Geshe that in order for him to undertake his studies, he had a sponsor, and those sponsors were actually Australian. Yeah. So for 21 years or so, Geshe Tenzin Namdang was able to undertake his studies. So now these days, Geshe is in the Jamyang Center, I think in England. And Geshe is a great benefit because he's able to, yes, understand Tibetan, but also translate into English and other European language. So, but the study and support for the study was really very special, and it was given by the some Australian supporters, yeah, because we have various resources. So if we're able to support in this way those monastics that are undertaking this great level of studies, then this would really be of great benefit, not only to the immediate surroundings, like Geshe Tenzin Namdang is really a great benefit to the whole world. Yeah. So within these 50 years or so with the Tibetan Buddhism being in Australia, I don't Geshe thinks that there hasn't been a Australian Geshe that has completed those studies. Yeah. That's not.
예, 삼성건설과 대식 삼당관자 부장을 물러라 계시시 삼당와이나 계층부려다스라 먼저 대리인기 님한테라야 지 님한테야도다 지금 메시디 소수 메시 나눠야 지 기부용야도 지 삼당대바이나 땅도 초월되네야 디 딜랍 첨부해면도스 라 소수 기부용야다 지 소수 메시디 단티부용야다 덴디 지 탈 삼단 로데바나 디 간지 미유다마스는 춘종쇼지래다가 먼저 지조지가 나와봐 삼단지 지조지기 아니 롱바지기 마음비기 탈이야 삼단 내가 지금이나 먼저 미래 왔으라. 제tuk으로 왔으라. 편도 제tuk으로 왔어. 대한 믿음이 깨지시지. 믿음이 찍질래. 잡줄지 찍질래. 로봇이는 들어봐나. 먼저 내가 가리는 제tuk으로 왔으라. 대마지었지. 아니 작도다. 랜섬다. 뇌섬 딘지치는 로데바이나. 대니 먼저 내가 지금 가인 제tuk 말아 왔으라.
So if we think long term, yeah, this is really very, very important, yeah. So of course we can think about our own individual short-term happiness, today's happiness. This is very important to think about still, but it's not very meaningful or it's not very helpful way of thinking. We need to think in a long-term way. Whereas if we're thinking in just only today's happiness, right, then this is a very small goal, yeah? So if we think about our Dharma center here, we need to think about the future of our Dharma center. We as a human, we can think in a broader way, yeah? When we talk with each other, we can think in terms of speaking and supporting each other. So in this way, whatever we set out to do, then we're able to achieve that, yeah. Whereas if we are constantly competitive, jealous, and there's friction, then whatever activity that we set out to do, we won't be able to achieve any of it, right?
단데 직동급제 던주된 다 직동급제 던주된 실내야 라마 이시다 라마 서버를 묻지 사잔들 표현이 최시여라스다 라 배균난된 게 통마디 달 로마디나라 응아딘디나라야 다 송여라스라 갑 뒤진 고츠온디니 아니 잠바데 인지 장주고 샘 토라야 깔럽나요라스라 달롱갑주 드러라 갑투디 잠바다 인지 잔주고 샘 토라야 깔럽나 여바디 최소디 첸리야 젠리스 최소슬라다스라 젠리스나 세원인지 쳔보 산지파비 투지고 세원인지 쳔보 라샤자비 사디 첸리야 젠리스 세고라스라 디 젠리스 인스티튜트 슬라운디 닌지 냠네 체사기타 아니 롬니르 칸치 미기 디렌다스라 칼럽 딘나 여바 자샤자다 바로 다 디나노레 닌지 냠넨 체네 닌지 냠넨 탈친데겐기 롱갑주릴라야 미카즈스 텐요레스 라 최존디 나운데 아니 닌지 토라야 냠넨치 아니 닌지 계영이 가즈스 총요레스 안다 닌지 냠넨치 온디기 빵고야 조디 컨트롤당 셰르당당 착도라 소비 로디요나 뉴무디요나 닌지기에 싸우니는 문도 왔어요. 대등한서 상당이라셨어.
So in 1974, Lama Rinpoche and Lama Yeshe came to this area where they established Chitrisik Institute and taught Tibetan Buddhism, the Tibetan Buddha Dharma. Yeah. So at that time, their initial advice and teaching was on cultivating love, compassion, and bodhicitta. They spoke about these topics, yeah. And 50 years later, and we have the name of the Chenrezig, which is in Sanskrit Avalokiteshvara, yeah, which is the embodiment of the great compassion, yeah. So if over these years that the initial advice was on compassion and love and so forth, then this is really the institute or the place of learning of compassion and the practice of compassion. So this is 100% our goal, is to practice compassion. So now over these last 50 years, how many people have come and visited Generosic Institute? They've learned about compassion. They've practiced what compassion is. But then they've left, but have they actually generated compassion? So if one hasn't abandoned the afflictive emotions, such as anger, hatred, jealousy, and so forth, then it's very difficult to generate compassion. So this is really something that we need to think about. 맞습니다.
Terda kanji nanchu jang tsawi jela ani nimu digidita mewa soya tabshi chiya deres. Nanchu je ngotsu wani chene karchi warsna rangi juju nimu mewa soya kita ani tabti ngotsu go ndasra. Ta nimu mewa soya tsawa ni nimu mewa so tugmena ani nanchu je di takda chagyo maresdara. Nimu shuk chir ra ngarje chagdo ransom control di shuk chir rogyo bana midi ta tsawin da nanchu nyamne chi tugyo maresdara. Nanchu nyamne chi tungi jigin savijela nimunyong dogres. Ninji chanjugusem changba chanjugusem soba diglo di ani shuk chir dogres. Tin rogo yoresdara. Kanji ani number sanji wi tebachim bi chue chingejila di gogo yoresdara.
So after learning thoroughly about what the Buddha Dharma is, the methods in order to remove our afflictive emotions, but from the very outset or the beginning, while we are studying and learning about the Buddha Dharma, we need to learn those methods in order to remove those afflictive emotions. So if our afflictive emotions are not reducing, if they're not weakening, then our study and our practice is really not adequate. It's not okay, So whereas if our afflictions are increasing, then we can see clearly that our practice is really not adequate or okay, So we really need to put into practice what we are studying. So in order to reduce those afflicting or disturbing emotions, and therefore we're able to then cultivate and increase those thoughts of love and compassion and so forth, So this is really what a Mahayana Buddhist requires.
Ta re lama ishida lama sobar mochigita one ji ninji nyamne yagbuchi yongyagi ta rewa shuyo sares nganzon di chuzo di ta gedu tigitelaro chuzo tsenla ya Chinese institutes ta nganzon tanda sagan yoro sagan big love kare kefi love yoro yeah teni tijela Geshe lama gunjo pevni manin kolo tsugdo manin kolo Chinese 생각 kolo tsugdo 아니 kolo tijela kolo chenbo 단들 lama sobarmaji gonjile yanganjile Chinese ku ani meter shishemba ngebordo godo Chinese chadon chando ku shang godo sene yanganju di rode gorada tadzo samalo kare 아니 최소 디기 허주 속에 인지기 냠내 야부지 용약체 인지기 냠내 야부지 용약체 들어와 당연히 디 마치 바이나 다 라마 이시다 라마 소버무치니 고모조사레스 다 툭범 그러다 야체 야다마 당 툭범 그러서라
nga su di tupamre kutso
lama namba lama konzo lama yishita lama sobaronji konzo tukpom gra
nale tupamgire di
lopam yoga lopam
lopam
yeah
that's it 가르치네
가지는 칼라 많이 로
근데 칼라만해
labja gyashigi tagda lobjong chigiyo marwa
안에
inyamni chigiyo marwa machiba ina lawa ta machiba mambu chigiyo ta machiba ina ta tukpam drogres
that's it 디서버디 하마코라리 베삼 디 미키바 that's it so the great masters such as Lama Yeshe and Lama Superibushe, they really had a great hope for those students of the Generating Institute to cultivate and practice great compassion, yeah? And that's why they gave the name Generating Institute. And also the name of the cafe, Big Love Cafe. So then afterwards, the Geshe Gunjong arrived at Generating Institute and installed the Mani prayer wheel. Yeah, and it's also inside with the Mani mantra and also the images of Generating. Yeah, so these are all, all related to Generating. So also Lama Zopa Rinpoche gave the advice that the 1,000 Generating 4 meters in height should be installed as well. So all of this coming together was really for the purpose of facilitating the practice of cultivating compassion, for all of the practice of compassion to go well. This was the purpose behind all of this, yeah. So now Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche have achieved their parinirvana or passed away. And yes, there are some that do practice compassion, but for those that aren't practicing compassion, they would be quite disappointed. That's all.
이모 2018제 니돈 접기로 lama sobaronji 대표로 되게 안주 날랜데 가든디 요 말에 가든디 나로 산좀 된디 그 군다 지금마다 셴바케 요 말에 아니 rumbuji tel 페어 되게 많은 콜로 춘준 많은 콜로 디어다 아니 rumbuji tel 페어 간디 인냠도 요로 rumbuji 두스나스 rumbuji 다가라 레시스 날라 excellent 되네 니 가르친 거나 삼성 응 가르치 봐 니마 rumbuji 콘젠레스레 페온디 에너지 켄자 지기스
안에
디젤라 마넨 콜로드 쭉세베 젤라 베 시디 차송스 말 디송송스
에너지 니 퍼케 랍다 카레 랍기래
솔나한도 인지시
소나 feeling that's it
솔낭 솔와 솔낭
that's it So in 2018, Lama Zopa Rinpoche visited the Generating Institute. And at that time, in the Nalanda garden there was only the Buddha Shakyamuni statue. There was no other statue in the what is presently the Nalanda garden. But also there was this small Mani prayer wheel. So when Geshe was walking with Lama Zopa Rinpoche past the small, Mani prayer wheel, then Rinpoche sort of indicated to his head, he pointed, and Geshe said, "Oh, what is it?" Yeah, and Lama Zopa Rinpoche mentioned that previously, beforehand, the energy or the feeling in this area, this place, was really quite strange. But now, after the installation of the money color, the prayer wheel, it's feeling very peaceful. That's all.
어딘지 레지다 간지 마네 콜로디 델 쭉니 아니 사자 델 팽기요바나 마네 완전 마네 장바이나 야자야담 펜도용 거라스 마네 장마자 마세 닌지 로 장바이나 당원의 펜도용 거라스라 닌지 로 장사기다 최소 쭉으로다 딘자 아주 네버드다 닌지 로 장고도서 닌지 로 장바이는 잠블린의 펜거다 라 잠블링기 시디세 자와디 제비기 셈을 되니 용거라서라 자와 탈드고디 제월 되니 레고라 제와 닌지 첨보 라 델든 레고라 당가 디 장사기 테니질 레온디 디 장고다서라
So really, we can see that the place, the area, has been benefited by the installation of this mining prayer wheel. Yeah. So if we recite the prayer, the mantra, the mining mantra, then will also be of great benefit. Yeah. So we can say the thought of compassion, the thought that is cultivating compassion, is really very beneficial itself. So not only beneficial for us, but to the area, the place that we are cultivating this thought of compassion. So it's beneficial for our world. So we mention regularly world peace, you know, but this world peace is on the basis of generating this great compassion, a thought of great compassion. So this is the place, is the place to learn and cultivate this thought of great compassion. That's all.
그게 망자서 저거는 저한테는 되게
So maybe I've spoken a little bit too much. So if you have any questions, please ask them.
No? Yeah. 저한테는 야부여랬어. 저한테는 야부여랬어. 자식아.
So it's good if we're able to have a bit of a question and answer.
So how in everyday life do we show compassion to those who constantly hurt us?
So Muigi ini mishamba ngatsula tapara nöta tapara nöna suboyana sam tapara nöna ini ngatsu ngatsula ninje getsu kanderesa.
다들 계신 보러 왔어. 단내 밀내버 징이기 미지도 왔어. 밀내 제등이 미지도 왔어. 밀내 제등이 미디기 샘나라야 뉴무페 슈크심보여레스. 뉴무 슈크심보 코랑기 라왕 요말다. 그 샘디 뉴무비기 아니 완전 로데마도 심보 요말다. sem nyumunbi wandu sondi mikora nyumunbi wandu sonyores. Nyumunbi wangi ani meshala ya neba chigiyores. Meshala dugja chigiyores. Tinganzu teda nyumun mena zawa nini neba chigmares. Nyumun nyong rondi zewi lodi shukche legores. Tinguye lizores ro. Pena michik 아니 단다 알아 숙청부 동바이나 라스 차디기 아니 거기 내가 가르 독자 제바나 라스 디기 내가 독자 제바이나 잠블링이 춤 춤부 찌게 말아왔어 네바 춤부 요 말아왔어 간스는 거 라스 인자 라스 데요 반자 콜에 믹스 했던 거라서 제 말에
그래.
데드 찍바레스 상기기 추 나눠려야 뉴문비기 라스 딩이 메저라 텔레니지 곰고레스 닌제 그 뉴무슈크 쳇다샤 거기 뉴무슈크 집에 왕기 거기다 밀내졌던 것도 다디 코로나 야부 말에 삼비기 로디키 초고도 하서라 두스 곰고고레스 다 인주 곰단 디레스
So this is very important, yeah. And we can consider from the perspective that the person that is engaging in yeah, the person, their mind is under the control of the afflictive emotions. They really are out of control because they're under the power of their afflictive, or they say disturbing or destructive emotions. Yeah. So since they're under the control of these afflictive emotions, then they engage in harmful activities, harming others. Yeah. So if they didn't have those afflictive emotions to start with, they wouldn't engage in harmful behavior. Yeah. So that's why it's important to reduce the afflictive emotions and there give room to positive emotions such as love and so forth. So this is, the way things, go. So for example, when somebody is drunk, they're under the influence, we know that, of that alcohol. Yeah, they're inebriated. So you can say that they're under the control of the alcohol influence on their, on them. So, and even if they do harm others, but they don't necessarily receive a great, like as the individual, a great recourse or repercussion because people say, oh, they're just drunk. They're under the influence of the alcohol. So in the same way, the other person that is harming others or harming yourself is under the, or drunk or under the influence of these afflictive or disturbing emotions. Yeah. So, and we can see that they really don't have any control over these afflictive emotions. So if we're able to differentiate between the afflictive emotion and the individual, then we can cultivate the thought of compassion for the individual because they are under the power of these disturbing and afflictive emotions. So if you can reflect in this way, then that would be beneficial. That's all.
걔는 저디 야구 배도 왔어. 인지군에 깨고서디 뉴문비 샤원도 결정이들. 뉴무숙 첨부 영애들 인지 깨고 그랬어. 인지 깨서 그다 요원이디 뉴무숙 첨부 영애들이었어. 로 뉴무숙 첨부 영애는 담아려요. 유첨부 여쪽으로 왕첨부 여쪽으로 권내첨부 여쪽으로 인바이나다 뉴무숙 첨부디 아니 깨워니 깨워 준체네 dungar 끝날이 거라서. dungar 간지 띄운 거다. 간지 돌 뒤나 뉴무슉 전부 여사지 먼저 인지께서 율응고마들이었어. 인자 밀 가주스 뇌시 칭이 미지마 콜 뉴무슉 전부 여비 딱리마도 뉴무슉 전부면은 싸워니 내가 딱 말했어.
The Yubita Kare Yansuna.
밀 내가 제댕이 미지어라다. 밀
응.
두자랍댕이 밀 뇌섬 제댕이 밀 마랍 제댕이 저라다. 디 미디줄에 뉴무슉 전부 연구열했어. 뉴무슉 전부면은 딜 싸워니 지금 말했어. 디장 안 주고 딱 콜이야 닌제 콜 뉴무슉 전부 슈진도 아삼 닌지디 키 초거랬어. 키 고고랬어.
The Mila ninja ninja the Kayurwa.
뉴무 영역이 밑에라.
So actually, your question is very, very good. Yeah, because the real object of our compassion is the person that is under the influence of destructive or afflictive emotions. So that is the proper focus of our compassion. Somebody that is under the strong sway or the influence of afflictive emotions. Even though we can look at other objects of our compassion, there's many variety that we can use as an object of our compassion. But if we take those or someone that is under the very strong influence of these afflictive emotions, that speaks harshly, that engages in bad behavior and so forth, then this is the real or the true object where we can generate our compassion. Because we understand that due to the afflictive emotions and then engaging in that negative behaviors, then this actually impacts for many future lives going into the future. Yeah. So this is our actual object of compassion. Somebody that engages in harsh speech, bad conduct, and so forth, because we can see clearly that their mind is under the influence of these afflictive emotions. So on that basis, we're able to generate a compassionate mindset towards the person that is experiencing these afflictive emotions. That's all. Shall we leave it there?
Yes.
The text on page 12 or on the screen there. From my two types of merits, vast space that I've amassed from working with this effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds, wisdom, eyes blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings. May I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the force of strong compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings. With the points of the path as I have discerned them, may I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time. By even this graded path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons, may all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and create conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes great effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, May it always be assisted by the mighty ones. May oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. Jonchu Sencho Rinpoche, Mage Panam Ke Gurche, Kapanyamba Me Paye, Gone Gondu Pelva Shor. I think that's all, isn't it, Geshe? Okay. Yeah.